What's up, everyone? I'm on with my favorite German creator, Eve, here. She's been a student of mine and Gloria's actually for about 3 months and recently hit her first 2K deal, going from on average about 500 bucks a deal during the year to 2K. And she's here to talk about how her experience was growing as a UGC creator in Europe specifically. So if you're from Europe, if you're making UGC in Europe specifically, this video is going to be for you. Um, so yeah, Eve, why don't you introduce yourself? And I just want to celebrate this recent win. How big was it exactly in euros?
Okay, so hi guys. For those of you who don't know me already, I'm Eve. I'm a UGC creator from Germany. I had a recent win, which was a brand deal of almost 2K euro or 2K dollars. And for me, is personally, it was very, very special because I always thought I could only pull like small brand deals, like 100, 200 euro deals, and only deals over certain platforms. But then a brand reached out to me and they wanted UGC from me and not the other way around. So that was an inbound, which was also very special to me. Um, Basically, it was a brand that I was working with over TikTok Shop, and I created several videos for them that went kind of viral, and they really liked that. And then they reached out to me over my agency and said, "Hey, could you imagine working with me, working with us for UGC videos?" I think the deal was 8 UGC videos a month and 4 shoppable live streams. So I had to go live on their account, which was also very new for me and a nice experience. Um, yeah, this was the highest paid brand deal I landed recently, and
Amazing.
very much fun.
That's my girl. Hell yeah. So I think it was what 2K, so around the exact numbers were 1.8, 1.9K USD roundabout, which is
Yes,
1,600 euros, correct?
yes, exactly.
That's kind of the conversion. I mean, amazing. I mean, just to tell you, looking at your story from beginning to end, having the pleasure of guiding you through that transformation, really. I mean, we can get into it for everyone interested who's going through the same thing, because from what you told me, Eve, it is difficult, or at least it's very different to do UGC in Europe, Germany specifically. So let's get into that. I mean, as I said, just guiding you through the whole process from beginning to end. You can just tell the people how it was before you started beginning 2024. So almost 2 years ago at this point, right? How was that?
Yes. So I started in the beginning of 2024 when I was still in high school. So still had my same friends around me, still had the same day from day to day, and I just wanted something to change. So I decided to give UGC a chance and start my own socials. And when I first started, obviously I was very small and didn't have a lot of followers. Everyone starts with 0 followers. And the thing for me was that I was kind of embarrassed to start something like that because nobody in my friends or my family knew even what UGC was. And it was kind of like they would laugh at me, I think. So I decided that I just block all my friends, block all my family of my socials, and just give it
Damn.
a shot and start posting. Um, yeah, that was kind of my start because I was scared that it didn't work out. I was scared that they would judge me or they would laugh at me. And actually, some of my friends heard that I was doing that, they were talking behind my back and they were laughing about me.
Oh shit.
And so I had a really hard time starting, but yeah, I just decided to give it a shot, and then some of gifted collabs rolled in, and then I got free gifts, free products, and I was like, yay, free skincare, free makeup. But then one day I realized, wait a minute, you can actually also make money of UGC videos. That's had that happened when the first brand asked me what my BJ was for the video, and I was like, you want to know my price? Okay, okay. So I had to come up with a price for my videos. And yeah, that was kind of my starting point. Yes.
How high was that first price?
I think it was 150 euro for 2 videos.
So 75 on average. That's a rocky start. That's definitely, I wouldn't say that's even for a beginner UGC career, I think that's even low. So I believe, oh, by the way, how old were you before? You're 19 now, correct?
Mm, I started at 17. Yeah.
At 17. So for 17-year-old, I guess making her first money, how did that feel like?
Great. I
Hmm?
mean, it was my dream to like make something of my own and be self-employed. And when I realized, wait, I think UGC is my way to get where I wanted to get, that was very fulfilling, and I was feeling very good about that. Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, yeah. Do you feel like you had that rocky start? You said that you blocked all your friends, you felt shy. Like, was it because you didn't feel comfortable or confident in yourself? Or also because I'm gonna let everybody else know and everybody else who's pretty much making UGC in Europe, especially back in the day, I say 2024, right? Do you feel like it's harder doing UGC in Europe? What's your experience been like? You can go into detail. I mean, as much as you like.
I think the hardest part in doing UGC in Europe is that it's not as popular and not many people know about it if you don't actually work in this industry. So I feel like this was harder because none of my friends, no one really knew what I was doing, and I had to explain it to them, and then they were like, ah, okay, and they didn't really get the concept of it. And in terms of brands, I feel like the brands in Europe, especially in Germany, um, as of last year, they didn't know UGC either.
Hmm.
So when I was pitching to them, they were like, what does it UGC mean? What do you want? And then I realized, oh, okay, maybe I'm not at the right address here. And the because the brands didn't really use UGC and didn't really know what benefits you could have off of it, they were not open to like give me like pay me for my work because they didn't really value my work as a UGC creator. Um, yeah, that's kind of the starting point. I feel like in Europe it was way harder to start. Yes,
They weren't paying you because they didn't see the value of it, basically, right? So they didn't know what it was for. Do you feel like you had to
yes,
educate them to make them understand, oh, guys, this is not, for example, influencer marketing, right? What I'm doing here is actually what I want to do potentially is partner up with the company who wants to create content on a regular basis for their products,
yes,
right?
exactly. And then there were also some brands they were responding like, no, we don't need any influencer video. And then I was
Yeah.
like, hey guys, I'm not an influencer. Sorry. Yeah,
Especially when you were
they didn't
starting
really
out,
get.
they were looking at your socials and maybe confused
Yes, five
about what
followers.
5 followers. Yeah, exactly.
I don't
So,
know.
I
Yeah.
mean, for UGC, you don't need any followers, really. What you need is just good content and converting content, right? That sells.
Yes.
100%. So I feel the same way. I mean, I'm German too, for everybody who doesn't know. I feel like in Europe, Europe is always a couple of years behind, like common trends that we see globally, internationally. Same with UGC, same with everything. It kind of takes a couple of years less, maybe more for something to actually come over here and establish a foothold. So I guess brands do know less about UGC back in the day, especially. Even now today, I think we're about 2 years behind. UGC is less developed in a very particular way because I talked to Gloria, for example, right? How was UGC back in the day, like 2023, 2022 in the US? And she says to me, oh, it was easy. You just pretty much pitch anybody you want. You got inbounds. You just make a video, get on camera, boom, you make, I don't know how much, 500 bucks, 1K a deal. It is very particular in Europe, right? It is definitely less developed, but less developed not in a way of, oh, you just got less competition, I guess, or it's just easier to get into, but less developed in the way of like brands don't see the value of it. Um, Harder to get into. To recap, right? Um, cool. I mean that was before, right? Or the kind of journey that you went through. How do you feel like now, having gone through that, the highest paying deal across, your UGC journey, your career, you hit it recently, 2K USD almost. How did that make you feel? What changed to from before to now? What do you think?
I feel like from beginning of 2024 to now, I mean, obviously my brand deals changed. I get a lot of bigger inbounds, a lot of higher paying deals than before because I like leveled up my content game. I have better editing skills, better video skills. I really know what the brands need to like convert more or have more of views on socials. Um, and other than that, I feel like my mindset shifted in terms of that I unblocked all of my friends, I unblocked all of my family, and now I'm like, hey, here I am. And then they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know you have an account on Instagram. And I was like, yes, because I blocked you. So that really
You didn't
changed.
say that to
I
them, did
don't
you?
try to hide. Sorry?
You didn't really say that to them, right? You didn't see my account because I have blocked you?
Yes, I said I told them.
Oh
I was like,
shit.
yes, I know. I was embarrassed at first, but I unblocked all of my friends now, because I feel like now I have more confidence in myself, and I know that it can work what I'm doing. That's something I didn't have before. I didn't have some things telling me yes, it will work, and now I know it will work. And yeah, it changed in terms of brand deals, of course.
Mhm,
My motivation changed
mhm,
because now I know my value. I know what I can do for brands, and I know that I will not um, sell my videos for, I don't know, nothing. I will not
mhm.
do too many gifted deals or too many low paying deals. I will just have my value and not sell myself under that. Yes, I feel like that was the biggest change.
I mean, you can get into it where that mindset shift come from, because I know where it came from. Because I mean, I work with
Mhm.
you for the past 3 months, right? Um,
Yes.
I mean, we're transparent about this. We're not hiding this. Eve was and is still an active student of Gloria and mine, as I said in the beginning. So we've worked for a couple of months together now. Where did those actual mindset shifts come from specifically, or the other stuff that you feel like is different now?
hmm Yes, I would say that the academy definitely helped me to reach my mindset shift because there were so many mindset calls or mindset mastery classes that I was sitting on my laptop. I was watching like, wow, it makes so much sense. And I think seeing creators and the coaches there just having this boss mentality and just showing it to us as students really helped me to also have this mentality because I was um, like I realized I can do more, and I realized it all starts from within, and that's what I learned. So if you change your mindset, if you change what you think you are worth and what your actually value is to brands, then this starts transferring to the outside, and so you can land more paid deals. Also, what helped me is the community, of course, because you could also I could also just ask questions or send some videos and ask for some critique, maybe to even level up my content game even more. The community really helped me to feel like I'm not alone and I don't have to do everything on my own, because that's something I also struggled with, that I was so overwhelmed with doing all of these different tasks you had to do as UGC creator at once alone. And it really made me realize that I'm not the only one with problems. I'm not the only one that struggles sometimes. Um, yeah, also the classes in there. There's so many classes that I didn't even manage to finish all of these classes. But these classes I finished really helped me to also level up my portfolio. Um, Once I redid my portfolio and really structure for structure went through the classes and really just made it better, I feel like I had so many more inbounds that I really think came from my leveled up portfolio. Yeah, that's
Amazing.
one thing that I'm really glad.
I mean, th this is kind of what we try to do, right? But by the way, Eve it was one of our first European, specifically German creators, which I'm very proud of. You know, taking it back home, back to the roots. And so this is kind of what we try to do. Take First of all, I mean, to jump back to an earlier point before that, do you feel like other creators that you talk to in Europe, that's very interesting to me. Other creators in Europe, Germany specifically, do you feel like they experience the same thing? Because we talked about what you experience. What do the other people actually say? What do you have? Who do you have in your circle? And what do they say about doing UGC in Europe, in Germany? Do they have the similar experience or no?
So my other UGC creative friends, they were doing a poll in the story, saying that uh, do you also have the problems with German brands that they really don't get what you can do for them, and they really are not willing to pay the right amount for your videos? And then I looked at the results, and I think it was like 90% that said like, yeah,
Yeah.
I also have this problem with German brands because they don't really get the gist of UGC, and I feel like it's really with everybody here in Germany that there's some brands that know UGC, then there's a lot of brands that don't know UGC, and it's just not as highly valued here. I feel like yes,
Hmm. Right. Probably not only that, probably it's harder to get into because if you find a brand that values maybe UGC, for example, the brands that you let and collab with, right, or brand deals with, um, probably hard to come by nowadays. I feel like we can do a part of that to actually educating the market. That's what we say, right? We need to educate the market as well. We need to make it known. Of course, you need to communicate in a certain way the actual value of these deals, as well as what we do, for example, with our students, regardless of, oh, does the brand know about UGC? Not, doesn't matter. You educate them in a way where you position yourself not just as a UGC creator, but actually as a content strategist, right? Somebody that is pretty much, oh, you're not just somebody who makes pretty videos, gets in front of the camera, yada yada.
yeah,
You're actually somebody who understands the underlying customer psychology, the buyer psychology,
yeah,
which then gives you the opportunity to, first of all, help the brand more, which means that you get paid more. And you get paid more from more brands because a lot of UGC creators don't know how to do that. I mean, especially in Europe, right? Because
yeah.
this
That's
is the
true.
deal. This is the deal. It's just, I believe it's less competitive between, or it's, yes, it's way more competitive in the US market, which is why these strategies need to develop. Oh, how do I actually position myself? What is actually buyer psychology, right? Because there's just so many UGC creators in the English speaking market. We got US, we got Canada, we got UK, Australia, New Zealand, right? And I mean, a bunch of other countries who
Mhm.
actually just, speak the language, right? And then still want to play kind of in the big league. And this is, by the way, what we see too. This is the earlier point that I wanted to get to, which is, yes, it's harder to get into, right? Yes, brands don't see the point of it. What you actually do is turn that weakness into a strength. That point of it's harder to get to is you can use it into a strength just like that. What you did, we pretty much take the systems that you talked about, take the tactics that you talked about, right? Positioning, mindset, biopsychology that were developed in a more competitive market like the US, for example, way more saturated. You can ask Gloria, you can ask anybody who does UGC in America, for example, so much competition, right? Just so many people actually doing it, and like 80% of them just go into fashion and beauty, and you just forget about it at that point. But just
Yeah,
because it's more saturated, um, there were tactics and systems that are just better and higher evolved because they needed to be, right? Because they needed to be. If you got so much competition, you need to stand out. And so what we do and what we do with Eve as well, pretty much with every creator in Europe at this point, we take the same tactics that were developed in a more competitive, more saturated market, we take it into a less competitive market, like Europe, for example, and that makes you, instead of one of a thousand, makes you one of one. Because all these people in Germany, all
Mhm.
these people in Europe, they don't know about it because they don't need to really, because it's so much less developed. So this is how we turn a weakness into a strength. Um, as kind of a
Yeah.
business, that's really a business strategy at that point on a higher level.
Mhm.
But that's what we do for our UGC careers as well. Um, I mean, if you're part of it as well, for those of you who don't
Yeah.
know, Gloria and I co-run our creative agency where we place creators into brand deals. And, Eve and other creators in Europe are kind of our first step of an expansion plan that we're doing. So we're expanding into Europe as well. Places like Germany, Spain, um, Portugal, France, and Italy, to name a few. So pretty much like Europe. Um, for example, for Italy, we have our contacts there. Many people may have seen his video. We have our now B2B email expert, for example, that set up our email system for the US, but now we're turning it into an email system from Germany too. We are literally sending out 10,000 emails a day for our agency, getting brand deals for our UGC creators, and we did that for the US. That's another tactic that was developed just because the market is more saturated. Another example, right? Works on the creator level, also works on the agency level, and now we're taking it into Europe. Um,
Yeah.
so, Eve, if you have any last words, maybe one thing
Yeah.
that helped you succeed in Europe, any advice that you would give maybe somebody in
Yes.
your situation, maybe a UGC career in Europe, what would you say?
Yeah, I have something in the back of my head the whole time. So many creators here, especially in Germany, I feel like they are making things up in their head that could hold them back, and because of that, they don't even start at all. For example, if they see some creators in the fashion niche or in the skincare beauty niche, and then they think, oh no, I'm not as pretty as her. Um, I don't have the right body. I don't have the right style to become this and that. And I think that's one thing that also was in the back of my head when starting. That I had to be perfect. I had to be a pretty face. I have. If I want to work with skincare brands, I need perfect skin, and I've been struggling with bad acne for like 6 years. So I was like, I can never like have skincare collabs. But then the one thing that made me realize is that you can actually turn this disadvantage into your advantage, because this is what makes you unique. And because you don't hide yourself, or because I don't hide myself with my skin, then the brands say, wow, I really like that you show how real you are and you don't hide yourself. And then they book you because you have something that is not the perfect ideal face or look, whatever, and that's what makes you stand out. And I feel like that's something I also learned here in the academy, that you don't need to have everything in your mind. You don't need to have the perfect look, the perfect setup, the perfect aesthetic home, because my house is really not aesthetic at all. And you just need the knowledge, you just need the resources to know how to do it. And once you mm, really understand that it's just what you can do, anything if you know how to do it, and you know how to do it if you learn from people that teach you. Yeah, that's my last sentence.
Incredible. I love it. I love that. Learn
If
from
that makes
people, learn
sense.
from people. Oh, it does absolutely make sense. Learn from people who already did it pretty much. Um, I think those are actually pretty good ending words. Um, Thank you, Eve, first and foremost. It's been an amazing journey with you, and this journey is gonna go even further, right? We're gonna change the German market as well, um, like we're doing everywhere, pretty much, like we did in the US. We're gonna keep doing it with you. Um, on the topic of learn from people who already did it. That's why I said, I mean, amazing ending words. if you are, this is something I want to say to the people watching. If the specific person watching you now, if you are from a place like, for example, and you're doing UGC in a place like, for example, Germany, Italy, right, Spain, France, Portugal, pretty much in Europe, and you feel like you've been struggling, reach out, shoot us a DM. If you're from Germany, for example, feel free to message Eve. I know that she helps everyone that messages her. So if you're specifically from
Yes.
Germany, you may benefit from her knowledge, having gone through the whole process and succeeded in Germany and keep succeeding. If you're just from the EU in general, from the other countries that are listed, you can feel free to DM me, right? I'd love to, I guess, take a look at your situation, help you out in any way we can, because we know it's a little bit harder in Europe, as we just discussed. And also because we are literally right now actively looking for creators in those specific countries to place into brand deals right now as well. So the agency that I talked about, we are expanding, as I said, into those countries, which is why we are looking for talented creators to work with in those countries and speaking those languages specifically. Um, so if that's you, I guess hit us up. If you need any help in Germany, hit Eve up. Need any help in general, my DMs are always open for anybody who wants it. Um, and yeah, that was about it. I would say Dankeschön to everybody listening.
Perfect. Danke,
There
danke,
you
danke auch an dich. Thank you so much, Alex.
go. Always, always. It was a pleasure, guys. All right, take care now.